Hi, hello everyone. How are you doing today? How's your week been going so far? So, Monica and I are so excited to do our weekly Facebook Live with you all, and we are going to talk about how to go from thinking I'm not very interesting and I don't have a life story and who would hire me to, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see how many people are going to hire me after I share my life story. And yes, it is possible to do that mindset shift. So let me see if I can bring my partner Monica on. Okay. Hi, Kathy. Welcome. There, there she
Hey.
is. Hi. Monica, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and then I'll introduce myself and we'll get started with our topic today?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Monica Hutchinson. I'm a Real Talk public speaking coach. And my whole goal really is to help you to reclaim the voice that you've lost maybe to the world, to life, to all the shoulds and what you think that you should be doing in your life. And just to help you find that voice again so you can speak up and say whatever the hell you want, whether that's on stage, in your relationships,
Yeah.
essentially anywhere in
Hell yeah.
life.
And I am a public speaking coach and hypnotherapist. And Monica and I do the same thing. We're partners. We just want to help women to speak up and to powerfully share their life stories and become motivational speakers. But I also specialize in helping women deal with the emotional side that comes up when you're becoming more visible in your life and business and as you're giving yourself permission to talk about your story in this whole new way. So that is a little bit of my specialty. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started with our topic today. So, our topic is how do you go from feeling like you're not very interesting and feeling like maybe you don't have a life story and transforming that into holy fuck, like who wouldn't want to hear my life story? Who wouldn't want to work with me after hearing my life story? Because I have so much to share and I have so much to offer, right? And the reason we picked this topic today is because I was working with a coaching student recently, and she said this exact thing. We were doing a little bit of business coaching, um, helping her get her new coaching business started, and we were going to pull on her story for some marketing. And she said this exact thing to me. She didn't feel like she was interesting, didn't feel like she has story. And it was so funny because then I started talking to her and found out she's lived in London for like 10 years and then moved back to the United States, is trying to get her citizenship and wants to become a sex coach. And I was like, holy cow, girl, there are so many stories right within there. But it was so funny. She's been going around this whole time telling herself that she's not interesting. And it was like,
hmm
we got to stop this today.
Yeah, yeah, we do.
Yeah. So
And
Monica,
so I think,
I'll let you
yeah,
take
go ahead.
over and then I'll jump in, but you have the floor now.
Yeah, so I think this is such a common concept with so many people. And I know that I've felt it. I'm sure Chris has felt it at some point too, is that, God, I'm not that interesting, or, everyone goes through hard shit. Why do I have a right to talk about this? Or there's 15 TEDx talks out there on the internet about this particular topic. That's probably true. Number one, if other people are talking about it, it's actually really good for you because it means there's interest in what you've gone through and you can add to that story. The biggest reason why your story is valuable, though, is because it's yours, right? Nobody else is going to tell your story the way you are. Your experiences, the way that you dealt with it, everything that you coped with, no one has gone through those exact same situations. And if they have gone through something similar, that's actually what's going to connect you. Hi, Sophia. And hi, I don't know, if is it
And
Anquila?
Anquilla, I believe.
Well, okay, I want to make sure I say it correctly. Hi, Anquila. So happy to have you both here. So, really, the bottom line is that, yeah, your story is interesting because it's yours. And so, Chris and I were talking about this and just thinking through, and you might want to write some of these things down, but whatever your meditative process is, whether that's journaling, drawing pictures, recording yourself talking, recording yourself on a Facebook Live talking about it, because that's a great way to process through these things sometimes, or, working through your crystals or anything like that. You might need to do some deep digging to figure out why you feel the way you feel about your own life story. So you can kind of start by asking yourself, first of all, what is my story? What's the story that I want to put out into the world? And why do I want to tell it? What value do I feel like I would get if I heard someone else telling the same story? Sorry guys, if you hear that like flapping noise, the dog door is right here. So they're just going in and out. Hi Michelle. We got two Michelles on here. Hello, Michelle and Michelle. You also want to ask yourself, why am I the person to tell it? And you may think, well, I'm not that interesting, but this is where you need to dig deep. What is it that makes you credible? And then what are some things that have happened, especially if you're like, well, I don't know what I want to talk about, you can start thinking about what are some things that have happened in my life or that I feel passionately about that I want to talk about. Because maybe part of your story is part of someone else's story. Now, I know some of you know my dad died a couple of years ago from lung cancer, and he was also a Vietnam vet. And part of my story is telling that you should be talking about what your story is, because if you don't, sometimes it's too late. If you wait too long, you don't know when your life is going to be done, and you won't have gotten to have these enriching conversations and just share your story with others and work through and process the emotions and the feelings that maybe you're holding back. So I choose to tell his story because he couldn't. So another thing that you can do is to do market research on your Facebook community, especially if you're a new coach or someone who's new in your business and you're not quite sure what would resonate. Just ask people. Put a post out on your Facebook or your Instagram and say, why am I interesting? What do you find interesting about me? What do you want to hear me talk about? I know when I came out as polyamorous, like there was a ton of people who were like, yes, tell me more about that. I actually need to go back and start talking about that more.
Yes, you
But
do.
yeah, you want to just start asking around, because other people, having them reflect back to you what they find interesting about you is going to give you a whole new insight about what stories are resonating that you're sharing with other people. You don't have to do this alone. This is one of the biggest things that we do as entrepreneurs is we have to do everything by ourselves. I can't tell you how much power there's been since Krista and I have started working together more cohesively. Our ideating and our getting stuff done has been so much stronger because doing it alone is really hard. So even if you don't have a business partner, though, bounce ideas off of people, ask your community, ask people around you. And then once you figure out what you want to talk about, don't shield it. Okay. This is the hard part. Hi, Jennifer. And this is the part where Krista's work really is helpful too, with the hypnotherapy and working through the deep, deep stuff, because I think one of the most common things Krista and I hear when it comes to not speaking up is people are afraid of what other people are going to think. What's my family going to think? Maybe there's a situation with my ex-husband and I don't want to paint him out to be the bad guy or talk a lot of shit. So there's some stuff that you probably want to work through. I know Sophia's on the call today, and I'm actually going to call her out in a good way and say, Sophia and I talked about my story last week, and she helped me think through, how is it that I want to tell this in a way that focuses on my experience, not on the stuff that other people did to me or my perception of that. But not shielding it is huge. People want to see the real and raw you. So I'm going to ask Krista to talk a little bit more about that, because I know she shared plenty of edgy stories and had really good results in her business and in her personal life.
Oh yeah, edgy is my game. But I have so many examples about that. Before I remind me to get to that, Monica, I have a really good example, but there was a couple of other things that I wanted to share with you all. First of all, just remember, something that seems mundane to you or boring or uninteresting to you could be life-changing for someone else. Okay. When I was a bikini bodybuilder, 2013, that was when I finished up. And I had this gallon jug of water that I carried with me everywhere I went, on my nursing shift, to the library, to like, I just had this thing everywhere. And to me, it was literally a plastic jug of water, but like, people freaking love that thing. And I would like post like me like drinking out of this jug, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna start drinking more water now. And like, so many people like change their lives just by drinking more water. So like, I didn't think it was a big deal, but for other people it was. So just remember, again, like, don't don't judge yourself too harshly and think that you don't do interesting things, because I bet you do tons of interesting things every single day. And you just kind of have
Mhm.
to like start training your brain to see it that way. So that's my first thing. The next thing is to focus more on the emotions and the experience than the actual event of things. And so I have an example for you all. There was a time when I was living in Hawaii with my ex-husband, and I took a yoga class because I was really getting into yoga at that time. And I was laying in Shavasana at the end. And because I was actually like deep breathing and relaxing, I had this like profound experience of like, I don't like myself very much. And I don't
Mm.
like my life right now. And I need to do something about this. Right. And I had this awakening. And so, as you just heard me talk about this, right? Like, I could have just said, oh, I just took a yoga class. I paid $10 and I took a yoga class today. Or
Mhm.
I can talk about this profound experience that I had in yoga class where I woke the fuck up and realized I didn't like my life anymore. And when
Mhm.
you guys heard that story that I just told, you probably were keying more into the emotional side of it, of what I was feeling and experiencing, versus the fact that I was actually in a yoga class.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it's people want to feel, when you tell stories, it's to connect, and people can always connect to a feeling and emotion. We all share those at the end of the day, even if like the extraneous details are different. So that's something to really key into as well. And then, so let's talk about, what's going to make people want to work with you as you are sharing your story and you're speaking up. And I just want to say that, like, first of all, let's tap a little bit more into our feminine flow here, because when you're in your more feminine flow, or accessing the left side of your body, you're trusting that when you start speaking up and being visible and putting your message out there and sharing more, that it's going to be magic, and it's going to be like, just, it's a magnet, and it's calling in the most perfect people that want to work with you, right? So you really have to tap into that trust that it's your style, your message isn't going to be for everyone, but it's going to be for the most perfect people who are meant to work with you
Mhm.
next. So just talk about whatever you feel most excited to talk about, and stop trying to people please and say, what do people want to hear me talk about? Who cares? Who fucking cares what, that, like, just talk about what you want to talk about, okay? Because it's more about your excitement and your passion, and that'll call in the right people. And then my last thing is, and Monica talked about this, is with market research. Start dating your clients, start dating your audience right now, right? Like, go on as many coffee dates, in person or virtual, as you can, and pay attention to the questions that they're asking, and pay attention to the fears that they're bringing up. And then you can start creating stories and creating content specifically to those things you're hearing. And then people are going to be like, oh my gosh, how did she get inside my head? How did she know I was struggling with this? And it's because you're like taking the guesswork out, and you're just talking to the things that you're already hearing. And we did that with creating this Facebook Live today, right? I said at the beginning, I paid attention to what one of my students was asking about and concerned about. And I was like, Monica, let's create a whole video around this. I wouldn't have known to make a video. Or I think Monica and I both feel we have lots of interesting stories to share, but I didn't realize there was people out there walking around that they don't feel like they're interesting.
Mm.
So yeah, that was a lot that I just spewed out at you. I don't necessarily, it's funny because Monica and I are both coaches and we're both trainers, and we really like to make sure that people are digesting what we're saying. So hopefully you guys were taking notes and you got some good, valuable information from what we were both sharing. Monica, did you want to jump in with some thoughts?
Yeah, I think that just everything what you said, Krista, is totally valuable. So it's kind of that balance of talk about what you want to talk about. And then as you do, then start asking people like what resonates with them too. You should definitely still share whatever stories you want, and then just start listening, like Krista said, and pay attention to where people are like, oh my God, you said that, and it totally resonated with me. I know when I've shared my fertility journey, I did that for myself. This was before I even became a coach and I started sharing it. And I had so many people reach out and be like, I went through this too, or a family member or a friend did, and you gave me permission to talk about my own story. And I was like, well, shit. I mean, cool. That wasn't even my purpose. My purpose was for me, which was really healing in and of itself. But how healing it can be also to know that just the things that you're doing can be healing for other people and help them to speak up about whatever it is they're going through. So it's kind of that dual side of things is do it for you and then just ask what resonates. And then you still get to talk about what you want to talk about. You just can hone in a little bit more on what's really sticking with people.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, that's all I have for today. Are you good on your end, Monika?
I'm good.
Perfect. Okay, so while we still have you all here on the live, we just want to let you know that we're hosting our Fearless Public Speaking Retreat this January in Clearwater Beach, Florida. You're not going to want to miss out because you're going to experience serious FOMO. It's going to be a brilliant weekend. We're inviting 10 women to join us who are ready to start publicly sharing their life stories and training to become motivational speakers. And you get so much amazing, cool stuff with us. Monika, do you want to tell them about some of the things that they're going to get when they say yes to this retreat?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I have to say we only have 4 slots left, guys. Like four spots. That's
Yeah.
it. So this is going fast. The time is now to talk to us about this, and we're super freaking psyched about it. Some of the stuff that's included, first of all, I know Krista, this is the first time I'm leading a retreat with her, but in her past retreats, as she said, she listens. And so we're including accommodations this time in the price of the retreat, which is super exciting. There will be a really nice Airbnb in the local Clearwater Beach area. You get the 1 hour elevator pitch call with me ahead of time to hone in on how you talk about your business or how you talk about yourself and your story. And then also you get a 90-minute hypnotherapy session with Krista to work through your fears, which
Mm-hmm.
check out her post about hypnotherapy if you have any weirdness around that. I know some people we discovered have some like, oh, are you going to make me like jump like a chicken not off the couch or something? And it's totally not like that. So I feel better about it knowing that. You also get a coaching session with me ahead of time to work through your speech and to polish it up and get it ready to speak in front of these other women.
Mm-hmm.
And you will get the feedback and the coaching live on the spot and the chance to just continue to practice, see what resonates, do exactly what we're talking about today, see what resonates with your audience and get the feedback so you can take that out to the world and just put your message out there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And you also get access to our online Public Speaking Fearless Academy. No, I got that wrong. Our Fearless Public Speaking Academy. It's $1,000 value. This is going to help you to prepare your speech that you're going to be delivering at the actual weekend on the retreat. And then on top of that, we're going to have catered meals. And we're also going to give you a 30-minute branding photo shoot session. So that way you can have headshots and lifestyle shots for your website and your social media. Because remember, we're working on visibility here. It's time to put your image and put your story out into the world. So we really want to help with that. It's going to be a beautiful, magical experience. So yes, if this video, this message, our energy is calling to you, we want you there in the comment section below. I want you to type out, I'm interested in the retreat. Tell me more. Okay. In the comment section below, type out, I'm interested in the retreat. Tell me more. We'll send you the application form. And then after you fill it out, Monika and I will get an interview set up with you because we're not taking everyone. Like you said, we only have 4 spots left. And we want to make sure that it's women who are like really ready for this and they're ready to step in the limelight. They're ready to own their power. They're ready to own their story, right? You have to have a certain level of readiness to start sharing your story. And so we just want to make sure that it's the right fit for you and the right fit for us. So, yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're going to be doing this every Thursday from here on out. And yeah, that's it. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.